There's a popular language learning video where Dr. Stephen Krashen says that language learning only happens when one thing happens, when you understand a message. So that idea is the basis for the popular method of language learning that is called comprehensible input. So in this video, I'm going to tell you why that concept is only half true and how if you only do that, you're missing half of the equation. I'm also going to tell you what the other half of that equation is and exactly how you can start practicing it right now to complement, if you want, your input practice so that you can actually do output as well, which is speak the language. So in the famous comprehensible input video, Dr. Krashen draws a face and then talks to you about the face in German, okay? And so the idea is that if you normally don't understand German, all of a sudden you do understand him because he says, you know, here there's two eyes, one mouth, two ears. And it's almost like magic. You say, wow, I can't believe it, but I totally understand what he's saying. That's input, right? You're listening to him talk about the face, and it's comprehensible because somehow you understand it. Okay. Now, the reason you understand it, in other words, the reason that the input is comprehensible is because there is what's called realia. Okay. So the face is the realia. That's spelled R-E-A-L-I-A. It's an English word, probably a Latin word. You know, it's a it's a language acquisition, language learning term that refers to the thing that language is being used to describe, right? So the comprehensible part of this is that if you do it in Spanish and say, oh, tiene dos ojos or tiene dos orejas, but just solo una boca, you say, oh yes, okay? And that's your comprehensible input. Now, where Dr. Krashen leaves off at the halfway point of being fully great idea, language learning doesn't only happen when you understand a message, although that is true. Language learning happens only when you understand a message and when you make a message understood. So you understanding a message can be called input. If you understand it, hopefully, then it's comprehensible input. And if you can successfully make a message, your message, understood by me, we'll call that output. And if I understand it, well then, good, we'll call that comprehensible output. So the way to practice input would be if I'm teaching you German, I don't know German, but pretend I'm, and I'm telling you, okay, listen to me talk about the face, or the realia could be there. It could be a painting. It could be a photograph. We could look out the window and talk about what's going on. Whatever the realia is, if you have someone speaking about that realia to you and you're sitting back going, yes, right. That's great. That's great practice. That's great language learning because that's one of the two possibilities. I'm making a message understood. You're understanding. That means language learning is happening. But what if I asked you to do the same thing, but you make a message understood to me? So the way that would work is if I showed you this face and then asked you in the target language, if I said, okay, how many eyes does this have? And then you have to tell me, tiene dos ojos, and I can confirm tiene dos ojos, and you say sí, tiene dos ojos. Okay, what else do you see? Like if you look at the realia, describe what you see. In fact, I'll ask you questions about the realia. So we'll look at the painting together and I'll say, what do you see in the painting? And then you have to tell me what you have to answer my question. That's comprehensible output practice. Now, in a second, I'm going to give you 5 categories of realia that cover all possible realia in all of life. And by identifying those 5 categories, you'll start to see those categories everywhere, and it'll generate good output and perhaps input practice for you within those 5 categories. But before that, I want you to know this concept that I have in my method called 3, 2, 1 or 1, 2, 3. Here's how it works. You may already know, but let me make sure you know. 1 is a statement, okay? So if you look at the face and say, it has 2 eyes, that's a statement. 2 is if I ask you a yes or no question. So if I say, does it have 2 eyes? Does it have 3 eyes? That's a yes/no question, and you would respond with 1. Yes, it has 2 eyes, or yes, it has 3 eyes, okay? 3 is an open-ended question. How many eyes does it have, okay? So in my notebook, I've done 3, 2, 1, talking about the face. And you'll love my handwriting here. But 3 is open-ended. How many eyes does it have? 2, yes, no question. Does it have 2 eyes? 1, no, it has 3 eyes. Let's pretend it has 3 eyes. Put that third eye up there, okay? So comprehensible output practice for you is, let's look at this realia. In this case, it's still the face. Open-ended question, how many eyes does it have? Yes, no, does it have 1 eye? Does it have 2 eyes? Does it have 3 eyes? And you tell me how many eyes it has. Now it has 3, so your statement is it has 3 eyes. Do that in German, okay? Do that in Spanish, do that in whatever language. Have the realia, any realia. I'm going to talk about 5 categories in a second, but take any realia, like a face, and you yourself can generate questions about the realia. So you don't even necessarily need a partner or a teacher to do that, although that is a very good thing. Any realia can generate questions, either open-ended, yes-no questions, and then your statement. Now that we've established the concept of comprehensible input, and also comprehensible output, where I answer questions about the realia. We've established the concept of realia. I'm going to tell you 5 categories of realia that you can start looking for and then producing your output about. The first category of realia is things that you can hold. Okay, so you can think of this, we'll do all 5 categories like as a mnemonic device on your hand. Okay, you need your thumb to hold things. So category 1 is things you can hold. All right, so right now, wherever you are, look at what, like you can, okay, so just find stuff you can hold. I can hold my cuaderno, I can hold my lapicero, I can hold my cafe, I can hold my hat and everything. All right, so the realia of anything you can hold. Now let's go 3, 2, 1. What is this? 2, yes, no. Is it a pen or is it a book? 1, statement, it is a pen. What color is this pen? Is it a blue pen? No, it is a black pen. All right, you can do that with anything that you can hold. Realia category number 1 is things you can hold. Category 2, like your pointer finger, is anything that you can't hold but you can point at, right? So I can look out, I can point out the window and tell you, oh, there's a flag flying, there's a tree, there's some cars, anything you can point to, okay? So with a friend or just with your notebook, what questions can you generate to create your output about things you can point to? What's that? What's that? What's, you ever see how kids learning like their first language be like, what's that? What's that? What's that? I was asking, what's that? It's a good instinct. I can't hold the weather, but I can point out the window and say, how's the weather today? Is it nice? Is it warm? Is it cold? Is it sunny? Is it snowing? Realia category number 3, right in the middle there, things that happen in general. Right? I can't hold it, can't even point to it, but in general, I do this or that, I enjoy this, I do this sometimes, I often do this. Question 3, what do you do? Do you do this? Do you, your statement? That brings us to category 4. Think of the ring finger, like memories, anniversary, you know, anything that happens from memory, all right? So if I ask you, you know, what did you do last weekend? The realia is the memory of whatever you did. So there you get an image in mind, the memory of what you did last weekend, or it could be 10 years ago, whatever the question is. And then you have to, as if the memory were a painting, like as if it were the face, what questions, what did you do? Did you do this? Statement, yes, I did. No, I didn't. The 5th and final category of realia is anything that happens from the little I think in sign language, this is an, you know, I for imagination, okay? Anything that happens from imagination. So you'll notice that the 5 categories of realia have gone from more tangible to more abstract, right? That doesn't get more tangible than a thing you can hold. Second most tangible, something you can see right now, point to. Third, I can't see it right now, but it generally happens. Third, I have to generate a memory of that. And 5th, I have to imagine that thing. Often people think that grammar gets more advanced because it's like inherently harder to conjugate a verb this way, like a conditional subjunctive mood. I think the reason that grammar seems more advanced is because it often refers to more abstract realia, you know? So it's easy for me in Spanish to say, this is a pen, like, esto es un lapicero, but kind of harder to say, if I could travel anywhere, I would like to travel to, right? Maybe there's some more words involved too, I understand. But I think what makes it difficult is that it's more abstract, right? So with that framework of 5 categories of realia, my question for you is, how well can you understand a person talking about those things? By the way, if you want to create good input for yourself, the best thing for you to do is ask a person a question so that they talk to you. Okay, which is funny because that's your output. So you can't really have input without output. It's two sides of the same coin. You can't split it in half. It's yin and yang. It doesn't. It comes together. Okay, each creates the other. So let's explore the 5 categories. You'll be my teacher over here. I ask you something about something I can hold, point to, so on and so forth. I listen to your answer. That's good listening. That goes back to the original idea from Dr. Krashen. But does that mean that I could automatically give you an answer when you ask me the same questions? Not necessarily if I haven't practiced it, which is why I'm proposing don't just practice listening and speaking, and do both at the same time. Like, you can totally do both at the same. That's a conversation, like in a word. So now it's your turn to ask me, Tony, what do you see? Is it a nice day? Is it da-da-da? Let's do here, 3, 2, 1, so on and so forth. In the same way that my generating comprehensible input from them required me to ask them questions about the realia. When it's my turn to practice my output, my speaking, you ask me questions about the realia, and I have to give you answers. Anyone who says that they are waiting to start doing output, like they say, I've been doing 1,000 plus, hours of just listening, just comprehensible input, and I'm thinking now after 1,000 hours of practice, now I'm considering, like opening my mouth for the first time. Like, look, you're free to do whatever you want, but I don't see how that can possibly, it's listening and speaking is as essential to one another as inhaling and exhaling, so like I'm starting my yoga practice and I'm telling you, no, I just inhale. I think next month I'm going to exhale. You know what I mean? It's a two-way street. Let me ask you questions and listen. You ask me questions. I have to speak. So to summarize, input and output are two sides of the same coin. When I'm speaking, you're listening. When you're speaking, I'm listening. Whatever we're speaking about, whether it's the face or whatever, is realia, super important concept. And what's good realia? Well, there's 5 categories of realia, and when you have that framework, it'll help you look around and sort of see your life and think, okay, what questions can I ask about this realia? And what questions can I answer about this realia? Okay, that's the combination of hopefully comprehensible input and output. If you'd like to go deeper on these concepts, you can join my free school group. The link is in the description. Thank you for watching.